Recently, we covered what things you should never buy for your pup at a pet store. And let me just tell you, it was pretty shocking. But today, we're breaking down the 5 best things you can buy for your pup at a pet store to provide your dog with the life they deserve. Let's bark about it. Welcome back to Alpha Paw, your destination for everything dog. I'm Bernie Zilio, and I'm on a mission to answer every doggone question you have ever had about your fur babies. And today, we're talking about the 5 best things you should be buying for your dog at a pet store. Fortunately, we have an expert vet with us today, Dr. Ross Bernstein. Dr. Ross is a seasoned veterinary professional and pet care expert. He earned his doctorate degree in veterinary medicine at UC Davis School of Veterinary Medicine, and his work has been featured in several industry-leading publications, including the Journal of Veterinary Surgery. He is our go-to vet for everything we want and need to know about our fur babies. So welcome back to Alpha Pod, Dr. Ross.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So I am still recovering from the fact that the last time we spoke, you told us that tennis balls are not good to leave unattended with our dogs. You guys will have to check out that video to see Dr. Ross's explanation as to why we shouldn't leave tennis balls alone with our dogs. But today I want to talk about the 5 things we should buy at a pet store. So the first product that you should be investing in, both for yourself and your dog, is a pull-reducing collar and harness. Dr. Ross, can you please explain to us why that's so important?
The thing that I really don't like seeing in pet stores are those flexible or extendable leashes where they put them around the dog's neck and they kind of extend out really far. So some dogs, they'll run off, and then when they finally get to their running speed, they'll all of a sudden get yanked and pulled by their neck, and that can cause some pretty bad neck injuries. So still, even if they're wearing a harness, those flexible leashes are still not recommended. If dogs are pulling, it's probably better to get them a harness just so you're not pulling super hard on their neck. But really, something that I do recommend to my clients is what's called a gentle leader. It's kind of like a strap that goes around their nose. And when they do see a squirrel on the other side of the road, they're not going to run away, because the second that there's tension on that leash, it's going to redirect their nose and their face back towards you. And once that happens, the rest of their body is going to follow, and they're not going to have the urge to run anymore. So gentle leaders are really what I do recommend. If dogs have some sort of tracheal issue, like it's very common in little dogs like Chihuahuas, Yorkies, those little dogs, they get what's called a condition called tracheal collapse, where the cartilage rings just aren't formed or have an inherent weakness in them. And pulling on their neck or putting pressure there can even induce a coughing fit that can be very serious sometimes.
So you're saying that gentle leaders are good for dogs that tend to pull, but let's say your dog's perfect. He or she doesn't pull. They don't cause problems when they're walking. What is the best type of leash collar situation?
My dog, he walks fine. He just has a normal collar, neck lead. Some dogs that pull a lot, even a harness can encourage them to pull more sometimes. Like if you think about a sled dog, they have a big harness, and that's what they do. They pull. So sometimes if they're pulling with their neck and shoulders, they can even create more force sometimes. So it's going to come down to, your dog best and what they do when you're taking them for a walk.
So sort of keeping in the same vein of keeping your dog safe, I know seatbelts are incredibly important, but can you explain to us why?
Yeah, as a dog owner, we love traveling with our dogs and taking them all sorts of places. But if they're sitting in our lap, walking around in the back seat, or even in an unsecured crate or carrier, if you get in an accident, your dog could go flying. If there's a window open, they could even go out the window. Definitely don't want to have them sitting in the back seat, like in the bed of a truck. Actually, last week in the hospital, we had a German Shepherd come in that I guess the story was that it jumped out of the truck of the car. It definitely had a ton of road rash and broke its back leg. I don't know if it also got hit by another car. But if you are traveling with your dogs, it's always recommended to have them in a secure place or in a carrier that is secured. and definitely don't want to have them jumping out of the window. I'd say that's probably more common than actually getting in a car accident, is that the dog somehow jumps out of the car, and then they risk getting serious road rash or even hit by another car, or having an awkward land where they can break some bones. So bad injuries can result from that.
So keep the windows moderately high when the dog's in the car. And in terms of seatbelts, where should you be clipping the seatbelt? Because I feel like clipping it, let's say they have a collar, I feel like that's probably not the safest way.
Well, the most important thing is that, kind of like I said before, is that they aren't able to jump out of the vehicle. Next most important is that it keeps them safe if the car gets in a crash. So somewhere that I would say kind of like our seatbelt, where it covers a big surface area, that if there is some sort of, if they jumped or jolted, that they are kind of braced in a way that it doesn't create a lot of pressure in one point.
So I know AlphaPaw has a dog seatbelt available on alphapaw.com. So if anyone is curious about what kind of seatbelt to get, definitely check that out.
Yes, check out the seatbelt by AlphaPaw.
Okay. Number 3 is one of Pod's absolute favorites. It's puzzle toys. So Dr. Ross, can you explain why puzzle toys are so good for our pups?
They are super good. So when they're alone, or when you're not with them, or even if you are with them, if they have a puzzle toy and it keeps them entertained and gives them something to do, then it makes them think. It gives them an activity to do instead of destroying the house or going to the trash or chewing on themselves. And it's an activity for them. Even if you're putting food in a maze type bowl where it takes them 10 minutes to eat rather than 1 minute, it's a nice and fun activity for them, and they get a treat at the end, or their food. And so it's rewarding both ways.
Awesome. Good to know. I will tell Pod he's doing well. Number 4 is one that I hope a lot of people know, but I'm not sure if they do. A lot of big box pet stores have pharmacies inside where pet owners can actually pick up their pet's anti-flea medication. Now, a lot of people listening may be wondering, if my dog doesn't actively have fleas, why do I need to get him anti-flea medication? So Dr. Ross, can you explain why?
Well, fleas can potentially be a very annoying problem to deal with in your pets. It can, fleas not only themselves can cause issues where they bite them. Fleas also carry tapeworms, so it can lead to diarrhea problems too. But a lot of dogs and even cats can have what's called flea allergy dermatitis, where all it takes is one bite from a flea. And if the dogs are allergic to the saliva, it can cause a very uncomfortable allergic reaction. The dogs can be incredibly itchy, and itching and scratching, it's most often on the caudal half. And so these topical flea medications that you buy in the pet store, where you put them on the fur, they're better than nothing, but a lot of times there can be issues if the dogs are really furry and you want to get that medication exactly on the skin. Dogs can roll around in the carpet and the grass. It can come off. Sometimes they're bathed too soon after the medication is applied and not all of it's absorbed. So for my patients and my clients, I always do recommend an oral flea preventative. That way, they got it. And then every time the flea or tick or mite, depending on what medication it is, anytime they bite your dog, they get a dose of that medication and then they'll die.
Got it. So anti-flea medication is preventative, and we should all be giving that to our dogs.
I think we should, yeah. And especially in some places in the warmer summer months, the fleas become much more common, and you want to have all the pets in your house on it, and they can stay in the environment too. So you want to have if your pet has fleas, wash the beds, wash the blankets where they sleep commonly. You can vacuum your carpets, clean them, just so you can make sure you get rid of the fleas and their eggs and the larvae.
Awesome. Good to know. And the final thing on our list, which is probably most useful for smaller dogs or our senior dogs, is a ramp. So Dr. Ross, why are ramps so important?
Ramps can be used for lots of different types of dogs. They can be used for small dogs that just have a difficult time getting up and down from the furniture. They can be used for overweight dogs that would otherwise not want to come and sit next to you on the couch if they're just having a tough time getting up and down.
Oh.
Some dogs actually have medical conditions such as orthopedic disease, hip dysplasia, elbow dysplasia, knee problems. So really, if they have any sort of orthopedic issue, a ramp would help them out a lot. For dachshunds in particular, they're predisposed to a condition called IVDD, intervertebral disc disease. And a ramp could really help prevent some of the hard or the very high impact activities like jumping. So a ramp could really help with that. I know Alpha Paw has a great ramp that dachshunds can use, and really any dog can use it too. You just want to make sure you're getting the one that supports the weight of your dog. But yeah, ramps can definitely be used.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Ross. We will definitely be linking to that Alpha Paw ramp in the description box below. And do you have more questions for Dr. Ross about what products are vet approved and what you should be giving your pups? Drop them in the comment section below. Again, I'm Bernie Zilio, and this is Alpha Paw. Be sure you subscribe so that you don't miss a single doggone episode. We'll see you next time.